Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. My name is Kumar Satyendra and I am the trainer for the NetApp Storage. Okay, this is completely online interactive training, right? The course for this training is 25 hours. Means if you're joining for the weekday batch, there will be a 5 weeks. Okay, weekend batch is also running. Okay, so accordingly you can contact me for the time availability and the batch that I'm preparing for, right? Okay, so recording for daily classes will be provided to you. Okay, and for weekdays, there are two batches are running. Okay, evening and morning. Right? All right. So for batch and timing part, you can contact me. Okay, so which batch is okay about to run? Which batch is full? I don't take normally too many candidates in one batch. Okay, so accordingly you can enroll for that. Okay, okay. This okay during this course you will be provided the lab. Okay, so theory as well as the lab will be there. Okay, so once you complete the okay theory, you will be provided the lab as well. Okay, so I will help you to do the practice. Right. So let me walk you through about the course content. Course content. The first module is the NetApp product portfolio. Okay. Okay. So in this course, completely we are going to study about the NetApp ONTAP platforms and the ONTAP operating system. NetApp has a on multiple operating system, just like ONTAP, Centricity, and Element OS. Right. So we are going to learn about the ONTAP and ONTAP platforms like all flash files and flash series, right? Okay, but apart from that, we are also going to touch NetApp Centricity platforms, that E series and EF series, that is a block level storage. That we are going to study, we are going to touch the Element OS platform as well, that is also a block level storage, right? We are going to touch the on-premises block level storage solution provided by NetApp, that is a storage grid, right? We are going to cover the converged infrastructure, FlexPod and NFlex, right? And we also going to touch about NetApp Cloud Storage. What are the NetApp Cloud Storage, right? The cloud volume on tap, that Azure NetApp file. Okay, so all this we are going to study about that, right? But mainly in the entire course, we are going to study about FAS, all flash FAS, and the operating system on tap, right? So we are going to walk through about the NetApp products in the first module, right? In the next module, we are going to cover the ONTAP architecture. Okay, so NetApp comes in two modes: a 7 mode and the cluster mode. 7 mode and the cluster mode that we are going to cover. The hardware level ONTAP architecture, right? We are going to cover the network type. How many network types are there in NetApp that we are going to cover? Like cluster network, management network, and the data network, right? So we are going to cover that also deep, man. Okay. ONTAP hardware platforms. What are the hardware platforms are there? What are the technical specifications? An overview how it looks like. I will walk you through about, right? So disk shelf, there is a disk enclosure, right? DAE, the NetApp, we call it as a disk shelf, right? So we are going to study about the disk shelf. Okay, disk shelf, how disk shelf is connected with the controller. Okay, since disk shelf does not have a brain, okay, disk shelf needs someone to be brain for it. Okay, so we are going to make the controller to be brain, and we are going to make the connectivity, how cabling happens, which port is being used on the disk shelf and the controller to do the connectivity, right? We are going to study about the cabling as well, daisy chain connectivity, right? Multipath high availability connectivity, right? What is the active connection? What is the passive connection? That we are going to discuss. And believe me, this is very easy to understand. Right? We are also going to cover the NetApp documentation and hardware universe. As a NetApp storage administrator, what are the things? What are the things that you should know, right? As an administrator, right? Okay, so that we are going to cover the documentation part, right? In this module only, we are going to install the ONTAP. Okay, we are going to install the ONTAP and we are going to do the initial configuration. Right? so that you'd be aware how ONTAP is being installed and what are the initial configurations are there and what are the things that default has been configured, right? So we are going to cover this in this module, right? Next module is management interfaces, okay? Okay, so we are going to cover the management interfaces. How many tools are there? How many ways are there that we can access the NetApp and how can we do the administration? How can we do the daily BAU work, operation work, okay? How can we access the NetApp? Okay, the tool and the ways, okay, we are going to cover in this module. Okay, post installation, after installation, what are the things are required? Like licensing, NTP protocol, right? NTP, okay, network time protocol that we are going to cover. Auto support we are going to cover. Auto support is basically a feature in the NetApp which send a automatically notification, which send a automatically email to the vendor and even to your team as well, okay, to your team, right? So that you can understand what if any corrective action is required, then it send a email, right? If any hard disk failed, any controller failed, any IO module failed, any memory failed, right? In that scenario, it send the system send automatically mail. Okay, that is known as auto support. That we are going to cover that as well. Okay, next is physical resource and caching. Okay, we are going to cover the disk, how disks are numbered. Okay, how disks are owned by any controller. Okay, how can we assign the ownership? How can we auto assign that? Okay, what is the naming convention of any disk? How can we identify that disk? What are the name? We are going to cover that. Okay, so we are going to cover the RAID groups and the aggregates. Okay, okay, and then we are going to cover disk aggregate and RAID configuration. That we are going to cover that aggregate configuration via GUI and CLI. Right, we are going to cover the advanced disk partitioning. What is the advanced disk partitioning? This is also known as shared disk, right? And in this module only, we are going to cover the WAFL. Okay, this is popular as a file system of the NetApp, but this is not a file system exactly. This is a file layout. Okay, and this process is optimized for the write process. Okay, how any data is getting written in the storage. Okay, you have created any LUN, right? You have created a zip share or NFS share, right? You have assigned to the server. Okay, server is writing any data in that storage. How that data is getting written on the storage, that we are going to cover that, right? Okay, and how caching will work. If any server is sending a request to read, how it happens, how read happens, right? How that how that read request uh, will be provided by storage from the cache, from system memory, and what in what scenario that data will be provided from the disk. What is happening if that request is terminating on the other node, the cluster, right? So all the things that we are going to discuss. Okay, this is very easy to understand. Okay, logical resource, we are going to cover the logical resource in this module, right? In this module, we are going to cover the SVM. SVM is also known as a vServer. Okay, so vServer is bit older term. Okay, vServer is now no longer available, but yes, if you are going to use CLI, then only vServer will be used, right? The SVM term is very new term. Okay, this is the new term than vServer, and you can see this when you are going to use the graphical user interface, right? So all the things that we are going to cover. How many types are SVMs are there? What is the purpose of this SVMs are there? Okay, right? What is SVM? This is used for the multi-tenancy. So everything that we are going to cover this. We are going to configure that. We are going to create the SVM via GUI and CLI both. Flexible volume, that is a volume. Okay, that volume is a device. Okay, this is a logical container that this is the lowest level in the architecture which hold the data. Okay, client data I'm talking. Okay, so we are going to cover that flexible volume and we are going to configure that. How can we configure the volume in thin provisioning and what is thick provisioning, right? That everything that we are going to. All right. Next is NetApp ONTAP networking. Okay, this is very important part as an storage administrator or any administrator, whether you're a system admin, any admin. So networking things, if your networking things is concept is clear, okay, so maximum things is clear. Okay, how data is traveling. Okay, how data is being transferred. How what is the networking concept, right? So that we are going to study. Okay, How many ports are there? Port information that we are going to study. Interface group, what is the interface group? Okay, this is basically group of the physical ports for the redundancy. We are going to cover the theory and the, okay, so how many modes are there? Okay, there's a single mode, multi-mode, LSCP, right? So all this, what is the use? Why do we configure multi-mode? What is the, why do we create a single mode? So all these things that we are going to cover that also. ONTAP VLAN we are going to cover. Logical interface, this is important thing. Day-to-day interaction will be there. Or leaf, right? This is very popular with the leaf. If you're going to work as a NetApp Storage Administrator, every day you will be interacted with the, okay, IP space that we are going to cover, broadcast domain, failover groups that we are going to cover. Okay, so we are going to do all these configuration also with theory and practical both. Right? Next, that we are going to cover the NAS protocol. We are going to do the configuration. We are going to do the practical. We are going to create a NFS on the storage. We are going to create a NFS servers on the storage, right? And we are going to create a NFS share, export policy route, and same we are going to configure on the storage, and exactly miss that same we are going to mount on the Red Hat Linux server as well. Yes, we are going to do that storage admin part as well, server admin part as well for the lab. Same for the SIPs as well. We are going to create SIP share on the storage, and same we are going to mount that on the Windows server, right? Next, that we are going to cover the SAN protocol. Okay, in the SAN protocol, we are going to talk about the multipath. What is the multipath on on the server end? This is used for the redundancy, multiple path, right? If any path goes wrong, okay, your disk will still be accessible. Okay, we are going to configure the iSCSI LUN on the storage, and that LUN we are going to mount server as well, right? Fiber channel zoning, we are going to study about the zoning part, right? And the example we have seen. Next that we are going to talk about, we are going to study about snapshot. Snapshot is a local short time backup. Okay, so we are going to talk about snapshot operation, schedule, policy. How can we restore that data from snapshot? Okay, we are going to create a flex clone. Okay, all these things that we are going to do the lab as well. Okay, data protection, we are going to cover the data protection as well. Okay, so in the NetApp, there is Snap Mirror and Snap Vault. Snap Mirror is basically a Snap Mirror is a DR solution. Okay, you configure for the disaster recovery purpose, and Snap Vault that we are going to cover it for long time distributed backup. This is the replication technology that we are going to cover. How many types are the Snap Mirror replication types, synchronous, asynchronous, that we are going to cover that as well. We are going to configure the cluster peer and then SVM peer, all the things that we are going to cover in this module, data protection. Next that we are going to cover is a NetApp cloud storage. Okay. Okay, so we are going to cover the NetApp cloud as well. This is a complementary actually. Okay, but yes, I will cover that as well. So in that NetApp cloud, there is a cloud volume on tap. This is also known as CVU, very popular CVU. CVU. CVU for AWS, Azure, and GCP. We are going to configure that, right? All these are the lab. Azure NetApp file, we are going to cover that, right? Okay. On-premises NetApp, we are going to discover on the in BlueXP in the cloud environment, and we are going to set up a replication from on-premises to cloud. How your data is getting replicated from on-premises to cloud, that we are going to do the lab. Okay. Okay, storage performance. This is the new topic that I have added. Okay. So in this storage performance that we are going to study about the IOPS, throughput, latency, performance measuring tool. Okay, so how can you measure the performance? How many tools are available? Okay, so that we are going to study about that. Okay, okay, statistic. How can we check that via CLI? Okay, so via CLI, via GUI, we are going to check the performance as well. This is important actually, right? This is very important. Okay, ONTAP upgrade. This is also a newly upgrade. Okay, we are going to cover the ONTAP upgrade. ONTAP is operating system. How can we perform the upgrade? Okay, version upgrade, right? Okay, so in this one we are going to talk about types of the upgrade. Okay, What is the upgrade advisor? What is the pre-check before proceeding the upgrade? What things you should, right? How can you download that image? That image means that file. How can you upload that in the cluster? Okay, and how can you perform the upgrade and how can you monitor that, right? And what things that you have to check after upgrade, right? Okay, so this is all about course that we are going to cover, right? This is my contact number. You can contact me on this number, right? I have this email ID. Okay, I have two email ID. If you want to contact me on the email ID, you can email ID as well, right? This is my URL. Okay, I have my own website for this course. Okay, netappguru.com. Okay, so you can browse this as well. Okay, I have LinkedIn profile. Join me on the LinkedIn profile, right? I'm on the Facebook as well, and you can connect me on the Facebook, even Instagram as well. Okay, if you have any query or concern, just mail me on this email ID. Okay, normally I just use this email ID for the corporate query. Okay, all right, guys. So this is all about the course that I'm going to cover. All right. Okay, I will show you how we are going to do the lab. Okay, so this is the lab. Okay, so I'm going to do the lab. Okay, this is the Windows server, right? So if you are working as a storage administrator, you will be provided the Windows platform, whether it will be jump server or VDI or VDI and then jump server. So from jump server, you can access your NetApp. So how can we access that NetApp? Okay, via command line interface or via graphical user interface. So I'm going to show you how can you access the NetApp via command line. So we have a putty one tool. Okay, everybody will be familiar with this. I'm going to open this. Okay, host name and IP. Here I'm going to mention the host name or IP. I want to mention the host name. Cluster one, I'm going to click open. Okay, this is NetApp name. I'm going to click open. Once you click open, it will land you to the login prompt. Okay, let me increase the font size. Okay, I'm going to log in with credential, admin, and then password is also there. Okay, right. When you type the password, it will not visible while typing, but yeah, it is being typed. So not to worry. I have logged in the cluster. This is the NetApp cluster. Okay, we are going to do all the practice, all the lab here only. Okay, so let's run one command, cluster show. I want to check cluster. Okay, so how many nodes are there in this one? We have a two nodes. Okay, so I'm running the show command, cluster show. Okay, node, how many nodes? This is the node name, node cluster 1-01, node 1, and this is node 2. Health of this node is true, right? Okay, eligibility is also true, right? If you want to see the node information, node show, right? Run the ROWGO, right? So here also it's showing about the node information, right? How can you check the time? Just run the date command. Okay, you can find the date and time, everything, right? How can I do any provisioning? Suppose you want to perform you want to create an aggregate. So to storage aggregate show. First let's run the show command. Right? Two aggregates are there, agar 0. So this is the root aggregate. Root aggregate is for the system information purpose. It holds the root volume, right? We are not going to use this. Every company, every NetApp has this root volume, root aggregate. Okay, so you are not going to touch this. Okay, this is not going to use for the normal data purpose. We have to create another normal aggregate. Okay, so how can we create storage aggregate create? Okay, very easy to work on the NetApp command line. If you have never ever worked on the command line, not to worry. I believe that you start enjoying working on the command line. You will forget to work on the graphical user interface. Okay, okay, aggregate hyphen aggregate. Just hit the tab. I'll let you know in the sessions how can we use that. Okay, so aggregate. I'm going to create the agar1 n1. Right. This is the aggregate name I'm going to create. How many disks? I want to have to create that. I want to have 5. On which node I want to create this? I want to create it on node 1. Right? I'm going to hit enter. It's a notification, right? It's alert. Do you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. Okay, right? Okay, job job succeeded, right? Miss, it is completed. I'm going to create another aggregate for node 2. Okay, I'm going to change the name. This will be aggregate 1 but on node 2, right? Hit enter. Yes, right? So 2 aggregate that we have created here, right? How can you see that? Storage aggregate show. Okay, so these are this aggregate we have just now we have created, right? Okay, all right, so this is the way that we can do the lab and practice. Okay, how can you use the graphical user interface? Okay, so I just open the browser. On the browser I'm going to type the IP, cluster management IP or cluster name. Okay, and hit enter. It will land you to the login screen. I'm going to sign in. Okay, so this is the NetApp GUI. This is known as a ONTAP system manager. Previously, it was known as a on command system manager. Now it is known as a ONTAP system manager. Everything you can find here on this is dashboard. On this dashboard, you can find the ONTAP version, right? Any alert and notifications are there. You can find this is the alert, right? This is a cluster overview, capacity, efficiency, protection information, right? Node information there. These 2 nodes are there, right? Performance is there. Performance information. This is live actually. Okay. Latency, IOPS, and the throughput, right? This information you can find it on the dashboard. Okay, other informations are there in the storage. We can find a node aggregate. Okay, I want to create an aggregate or you want to delete it, right? This I want to delete it. Okay, how can you delete? Via graphically, I will make it offline, right? Click on, because you can see that delete option is grayed out actually. This is not highlighted. You cannot delete this. So what you have to do is you have to make it offline. Once you make it offline, it will be highlighted actually. Can you see that? Yes. Okay, let me select the aggregate one. Let me remove it now. I'm going to remove it. So this is the way that you can do the decommission. Okay. If you want to create a aggregate, create aggregate from GUI mode. Okay. So let's click on the create. Okay. Aggregate here. Okay. If you want to create, you can click on create. Okay. Manual create aggregation. If this is not highlighted, it means this will automatically it will be created. Just you have to submit it. If you want to create it manually, enable it. Everything you have to mention here, name and all that. If you want ONTAP should create it for you. You simply just submit here. It is going to have a name. It is going to have select the number of days, right? All information that to create aggregate, it is going to take at its own choice, right? Just run it in background. Can you see that this aggregate is now created, right? Okay, so this is the normal provisioning. Okay, I can show you how can we can do the lab for the replication as well. Okay, so replication, I have a 2 cluster. How can I do the replication from one site to another site, right? Source site and production site and the DR site, source site and destination site. I have a 2 cluster. I have a production cluster 1, right? I'm going to log in, right? This is the cluster 1. You can see that, right? Let me increase the font. Okay. Okay, this is the cluster 1. Another let me open another one, cluster 2. I'm going to change the setting, right? Okay. Okay, so I have a 2 cluster, right? This is a cluster 1 and this is cluster 2. This is the source, this cluster 1 is source, and this is the destination. So we are going to set up a replication from this source to destination, or we can set up from cluster 2 to cluster 1. We can make any one of the source, any of this, no cluster source, any, and we can set up the replication. We are going to do that, right? All right, so I believe that you have understand all the things, okay? Right? So after course completion, right, the course completion certificate will be provided, right? And even job assistance will also be provided, okay? So I after your course completion, I just add you in other WhatsApp group where all my alumni are there, okay? And all are from storage and backup background, okay? So whatever openings are there in their company, they refer actually, okay? This is mutual benefit for you as well, for him as well, right? And apart from that, I also provide some opportunity in that group, okay? So if that suits to you, okay, if that is suitable to you, that you can apply, right? Apart from that, I just guide you how can after the course, how can you prepare yourself to crack the interview, okay? I will guide you how how interviewer thinks about you as a as to you as a candidate, right? So how to answer the question in the interview? How can you crack the interview? What is the strategy? How can you get more opportunity? Right? I will provide the opportunity. Even candidates also refer, right? How can you get the opportunity, right? How can you get more opportunity? How you can update? How can you update your profile, right? Okay. So all these topics we just cover. Okay. So that's all about this demo classes. Okay. If you have any query, okay, just directly reach to me. Okay. In the description, just I have given my NetApp course WhatsApp group, right? And even my direct WhatsApp number as well. Okay, so you can directly ping me, or you can join my WhatsApp group channel as well, right? Okay, so that's all for the demo classes, right? I wish you a very good luck to you. Thank you very much. See you in the session. Thank you. Bye bye.